Geneva, the number of refugees who have fled Ukraine since the Russian invasion on February 24 has topped the terrible milestone of 3 million, the United Nations said Monday. The UN's International Organization for Migration said the landmark figure had been surpassed. 3 million lives uprooted. 3 million women, children and vulnerable people separated from their loved ones, said IOM Chief Antonio Vitorino. UNACA, the Union Refugee Agency, said Ukrainians had fled across their country's borders, with the IOM adding that third country nationals had also fled. An IOM spokeswoman said millions more people were still stuck inside the country or internally displaced within Ukraine. UNACA Chief Filippo Grandi said, "Today we have passed another terrible milestone. 3 million refugees have fled from Ukraine. The war has to stop now." UNICEF, the Union Children's Agency, said around half of those who had fled were children. "It means stress and sadness for children," spokesman James Elder told reporters in Geneva, leaving their fathers behind to fight and witnessing their mothers eventually cracking after days of stoicism trying to escape to safety. The UNACA initially estimated that up to 4 million people could leave, but last week admitted that figure might well be revised upwards. Before the conflict, Ukraine had a population of 37 million in the regions under government control, excluding Russia-annexed Crimea and the pro-Russian separatist regions in the east. Here is a breakdown of where Ukrainian refugees headed to. According to the UNACA, 6 in 10 Ukrainian refugees crossed the Polish border, with some having done so. Tens of thousands of people are also entering Ukraine from Poland, mostly those returning to fight but also others seeking to care for elderly relatives or returning to bring their families out to Poland. Before the crisis, around 1.5 million Ukrainians lived in Poland, the vast majority working in the EU nation. The data of arrivals into Ukraine's neighboring countries, which are in Europe's Schengen open borders zone, Poland, Hungary and Slovakia, only represent border crossings into the country. "We estimate that a large number of people have moved onwards to other countries," UNACA said. The UNACA said people had made their way into neighboring Romania, including people who had crossed over from Moldova to reach the EU member state. The UNACA figures per neighboring country are higher than their overall total, a difference which the agency says reflects the number of people who crossed between Moldova and Romania. The vast majority are thought to have made their way onto other countries further into Europe. Many Ukrainians fleeing the fighting transit through Moldova, a small nation of 2.6 million people and one of the poorest in Europe, en route westwards to Romania and other countries beyond. The UNACA said Ukrainians had crossed into the non-EU state. It is the closest border to the major port city of Odessa. A total of Ukrainian refugees crossed into Hungary. Hungary has 5 border posts with Ukraine and several frontier towns, including Zahony, where local authorities have turned public buildings into emergency centers for refugees. Some refugees made it across Ukraine's shortest border into Slovakia. Some refugees have sought shelter in Russia. In addition, UNACA said people had crossed into Russia from the pro-Russian Donetsk and Lugansk regions of eastern Ukraine between February 18 and 23. Ad block test. Why?